my very good friend Juhi Lalwani to the stage. Juhi goes to McCarthy Middle School. She's 13 years old and lives in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. Juhi loves to sing, dance, and play the saxophone. Please welcome my very good friend Juhi.
Hello everyone, my name is Juhi Lalwani. I'd like to thank Megha for her wonderful speech about inspirational quotes. Before I begin, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
So today I'll be comparing and contrasting MCAS and PAARC. MCAS and PAARC are two different standardized tests. MCAS stands for Massachusetts Comprehensive Assessment System, and PAARC stands for Partnership Assessment of Readiness for College and Careers. MCAS is only for Massachusetts, and it's been around for quite some time now, but PAARC is for the entire United States, and it's a relatively new test. So today I've broken my speech down into 3 points, and today I'll be talking about the differences between MCAS and PAARC, how these differences affect students and teachers, and my opinion on both of the standardized tests. So the first thing I'll be talking about is the differences between MCAS and PAARC. Even though they are both standardized tests, there are 3 main differences between the tests. The first main difference is the testing methods. MCAS is a written test and students are given the entire day to work on it, but PAARC is an electronic test and students are timed. Also, the software for PAARC isn't very student-friendly, which adds to the time it takes to answer each question. The next difference is the amount of testing. In MCAS, students are only tested once on each subject throughout the whole year, but in PAARC, they are tested on each subject twice every year. So, for example, in MCAS, students are tested on English Language Arts in March and on Math and Science in May. And in PAARC, students are tested on Math and English in March, and this part of the test is called the Performance-Based Assessment, and they're tested on Math and English again in May, and this is called the end-of-year assessment. As of now, there's no science test for PAARC. So the next thing I'll be talking about is how these differences affect students and teachers. They don't affect them in a good way. The first way they affect them negatively is that they don't have the resources to prepare for PAARC. One of the ways that they can prepare for PAARC is to go down to the computer lab every single day to practice taking a test on a computer. I mean, who even has the time for that in schools? Students have to learn many other things in their classrooms too. The next reason why it affects them negatively is that they don't have
Enough time?
They don't have enough time to prepare, and teachers don't even know how to prepare them right now because they aren't used to PAARC. Students aren't doing well on PAARC as a result of that because teachers don't know how to prepare them. The last thing, yeah, did you have a question?
Yes. So you said that teachers don't have time to prepare the students for PAARC.
Yeah.
But isn't that the real purpose of the test? Because a lot of schools are getting a flack for teaching the children how to beat the MCAS system. So what do you think about it? You think it's okay for them to help children to do that or no? Yes or no?
So are you saying that is it okay for teachers to prepare students for the PAARC test?
Yes.
So the young gentleman asked if it's okay, if I think it's okay that teachers are preparing their students to lead the PAARC test. And I think this is okay because it's a standardized test that all students need to do well on. Does this answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
So that is why they aren't prepared and they're not doing as well. So the last thing I'll be talking about is my opinion on both of the standardized tests. Even though I haven't taken the PAARC test myself, I know how it works because I have seen some practice papers. So for example, in an English MCAS, students would have to read a passage, answer a few multiple choice questions on it, and answer an open response question. But in PAARC, students have to read 2 to 3 passages, answer some multiple choice questions, and write a comparing and contrasting essay based on the passages that they read. Did you have a question?
So when they write the essay, do they have to type it out?
So the young lady asked if they have to type the essay when they do that part of the test. Yes, they have to type it. Does this answer your question?
Yes.
But going back to the multiple choice questions, these aren't the same as those of MCAS. In MCAS, there is a question, 4 options, and students have to pick the option that best answers the question. But in PAARC, this is just the first part. The second part asks you to choose an option that explains why you chose that answer. So guess what? If you get the first part wrong, then you automatically have the second part wrong as well. So now you've probably realized that PAARC isn't any walk down the park.
Yay.
So this is why I prefer MCAS over PAARC, just because teachers don't know how to prepare students. We aren't prepared, so we're not doing well on it. Personally, also, I've heard this discussion about PAARC that if states that have a higher educational standard take the PAARC and states that have a lower educational standard also take the PAARC, meaning all states take the PAARC test, then the states that have a higher educational standard will have to bring their standard down, and the states that have a lower educational standard have to bring their standard up. Even states such as Massachusetts, which has a pretty high educational standard, we have to bring our level up, and this proves how tough the PAARC test is. This is also another reason why I prefer the MCAS test over the PAARC. So today I talked about the differences between MCAS and PAARC, how these differences affect students and teachers, and my opinion on both of the standardized tests. Personally, I don't even believe in standardized tests because they can't truly measure a student's intelligence. Does anyone have any questions? Okay.
How many states are using PAARC?
So the young gentleman asked how many states are taking the PAARC test right now. Currently, there are 8 states that are taking PAARC, and also Washington, D.C. Are there any other questions? Yeah.
Did you ever take PAARC?
So the young lady in the green dress asked if I've ever taken the PAARC test. No, I haven't, because my town, Chelmsford, hasn't switched over to PAARC yet. Does this answer your question?
Yeah.
So I hope you learned something from my speech and you enjoyed, and thank you for listening.